Hello, am I audible? Okay, good afternoon everyone. Hello. So we are going towards our next presentation, that is core contents and minimum requirement of the river basin master plan. So this presentation is not only theoretical part. After so many discussion with the senior people or the different institution like CWC, we prepared a core content of the river basin master plan and a well structure of the river basin master plan. But still, it has some possibility to improve further. So I would like all of your participation for this presentation. Okay, because when we prepare RBMP, like when I will talk about we, na, that means who are preparing the river basin master plan. For example, now Brahmaputra board is preparing for the preparing the master plan. In future, maybe other institute will prepare like that. So it means ki who is preparing the river basin master plan. So when we prepare this river basin master plan, what will happen with the master plan? Can I ask with you? Why we are preparing this river basin master plan? We are utilizing water, but not utilizing. Water is a quantity. For example, I want to ask you one thing. If I will talk about water right, what it means? For example, land right, you know, if you purchase a land, that means that land is belongs to you. Okay, the periphery of the land, the inside the periphery of the land is all belongs to you. But if you are living near to the river, is river belongs to you? Not exactly. Therefore, the water rights are very difficult to make, and government is planning, improving those rights. Okay, there are so many rights between. Some rights belongs to the state, some belong to the nation, some internationally. So, several things are going nowadays internationally, like China, India, related to water, India, Pakistan. Okay. So why this is happening? Because there are no certain rights of water law all decided. That's are happening. So in simple, river basin master plan is also, we are connecting so many things. Everything lies into the river basin master plan. Like if we are making industry, if we are doing agriculture, if we are using water for the domestic purpose, like sir discussed already, Samar sir with you. Okay, so when we talk about all these components, okay, we need to give water to all these components. Okay, but it is possible to give water to all the components completely as per their needs? Not, because there are several limitations, like limitation of quantity of the water. But we already discussed that in Northeast, water is in abundance, but still give water to all the sectors. Why? Because there is not sufficient infrastructure is there. So we need to talk about that also. Okay, how much infrastructure we need as per present need. Okay, and then we can decide. Okay, then we can give water to all the sectors. So there are so many limitations related to that. We will discuss more it. These are the contents of this presentation. We will discuss one by one. So these are the main themes of the river basin master plan. Okay, first is hydrology and water availability. Second is floods and droughts, water quality, economic water use, aquatic ecosystem, socio-economic dimension, institutional and policy aspects. Okay, these are the main things on which RBMP is constructed. Okay, what is hydrology? I think all are from the water resources background, so everyone know what is hydrology. Okay, but if, for example, we already discussed that so many RBMP are already prepared in past, but still we need RBMP now. It's changes with the time. Okay, our goals are changing, our issues and problems are also changing. For example, yes, not pre-recorded, on live, which is going, which is still live on the YouTube channel. Okay, so it's not pre-recorded. Okay, so on hydrology, we are talking about hydrology. Okay, so in the hydrology, what we do, we assess the rainfall pattern in the area, we determine the runoff, we determine the total availability of the water into the basin. Okay, I think everyone is clear about this basin. Okay, so the rainfall we assess and quantity of water, because what is first thing, if we know the quantity of water na, then we can plan further. So this is the main first theme of the RBMP. Then flood and droughts, these are related to issues. Okay, Assam very flood, but can I ask, Assam is also affected by the drought or not? What do you think? Okay, but policies in Assam are based on the flood, not on the drought. Okay, but the changing because of factors including the climate change. Okay, for example, rainfall. You can see nowadays what happening. Intense rainfall are occurring nowadays. You heard from your parents or grandparents that in past what happened, so many rainy days were there in a rainfall season. My relatives are working in the Assam also, so in my childhood they told me that they need umbrella always with them during a rainy season. But now what's happening, the rainy days are less, but they are intensifying. Okay, so they are creating different problem. We get the water, but it don't, also the LULC pattern is also changing, like urbanization is changing with the time. Okay, what will happen with the urbanization with the water? If more urbanization is there, what will happen? Infiltration, more runoff will be there. Okay, and also delayed water will also be not there. So you can see there is a, in the lean period what happened, the water level in the river is very less. Okay, so this is also issue. Okay, we were talking about drought. So what happening in some areas, I was in Ireland yesterday. So there is a professor belongs to the economics department. She told me that what's happening in some area like which are very flood prone areas. Okay, so into that area what's happening, the people learn how to deal with the flood with time. But what's happening now, they are affected by the drought also and then don't know how to deal with the drought. So problems are also changing. If we make a river basin master plan now, then also after some year things will change. Okay, so this is not the Gita, Bible or what we say, okay, which will guide for the next century to all the people. So we need to change it radically, okay, with respect to the problems. Okay, so I think so many people told that new technologies are coming. That's why we are revising this river basin master plan. What do you think? Only this is the main reason behind the revision of the river basin master plan? Only this is the most important reason, or there are some more other reason also? I am asking to you. What do you think? Only the reason is technology, we have new technologies now. This is the main reason behind the revision of the river basin master plan or making the new river basin master plan. Yes or no? No. What are the other reasons can be? Issues also, main problem. Okay, and also we want there are so many river basin master plan previously also, but what happened now, after preparation of river basin master plan, it's very difficult to implement it. So right now government, all the like Brahmaputra board, everyone don't want that we will prepare a river basin master plan which will not be utilized by the stakeholder of the peoples. What they utilize it properly, not completely, at least 90% they utilize that river basin master plan. So that means the changing. Are you getting? How to? That's why we have added a very important component in this presentation, that is stakeholder engagement. Not only the technology. Okay, the stakeholder engagement is also as important as the technology. They can only improve the results, okay, accessibility to data or presentation of the results, but main problem is what? Governance and the institutional framework. We need to improve it, then only we can implement it. Okay, are you getting what I want to say? Now water quality, you heard the recent incident in Indore, maybe you heard about it. Okay, what it is, why incident is, which is here it is. What happened, you know, I will explain you in little words, that one line was, municipality water supply line was going, okay, adjacent to that one other line related to sewage, okay, they mixed and that incident happened. So that is not that we did not what we can say, we did not improve the water quality at the source. We improved it at the source only, but still when it reached, it was affected. Okay, why this happened? Because in past what we did, every plan is specific to one problem. Like if water supply is there, so only we focus on one problem. If we make a holistic approach, if in starting we know that they should not adjacent to each other, water line and sewage line. So if we prepare a river basin master plan like that, so this problem will not happen. Okay, and coordination also, institutional coordination also is there, important aspect. Now aquatic ecosystem and environmental flow. What is environmental flow? I have one very important question regarding to this aspect. So I would like to ask first, what is environmental flow? Do we know? I will explain you in simple word. To maintain the ecology of the basin, like we need a minimum amount of depth of water in the river to maintain the ecology of the river or sustainability. So my question is that regarding to that, for all the basin, for all the river, all the tributaries, this will be same, the depth of water. What we do now, anyone is from the hydroelectric, I don't think no one is from the hydroelectric background, no? I think they know actually. So what we do right now, we give a minimum depth of water for all the basin, like minimum flow should be there, but that minimum flow will also vary with the river to river. Different species need different depth of water. For inland navigation we need different depth of water. To maintain the ecology of a basin we need a certain amount of here, and which change with the basin to basin also. Okay. Now the socio-economic dimension, I forgot tell you one thing, economic and non-economic water use. I think you know what is economic water use. What is the non-economic water use? Economic water is like we are water for basic purpose. Okay, non-economic use for what? Like festivals. Okay, most of the festivals are related to the river, that belongs to non-economic use of water. Okay, so in the river basin master plan, economic use of water is also important, and we need to let the non-economic use of water into the river basin master plan also. Okay. Now institutional and policy aspects, that I already discussed with you. Okay, that we will discuss more. So I have some questions regarding to this first slide. I think we should discuss those points. Why do we observe floods and water scarcity in the same basin within the same year? We already discussed. So I have one question for you. Why do we observe floods and water scarcity in the same basin within the same year? Why this happen?
Climate change.
Climate change is there. So what climate change is doing? I told you already, because of the LULC change, more runoff created and it vanished. Okay, when the lean season comes, like November, December, the flow will be very less during that period. Okay, one is LULC, one is what? Rainfall pattern is also changing, rainfall months also changing, how rainfall is occurring, that also changing. Okay, these all things are documented in the IMD. Okay, how the rainfall pattern is changing. Now, should basin planning rely more on annual water balance or seasonal and monthly balance? We should include. I think you understood now. We need to include. We need to make plan for annual also. We need to include seasonal also and monthly also. Okay, because in a year we saw both things, flood and drought recently. Now, how should climate adjusted runoff coefficient be handled in the RBMPs? This I will not tell you now. I just want to know from you. How because we are working on this, how we will handle the runoff coefficient. Runoff coefficient, you know what it is? It changes the LULC pattern. If we construct more roads and more buildings, then what will happen? Runoff coefficient will increase, more runoff will be there. Okay, that means more runoff will be generated into the basin. Okay, so if more runoff will generate in a shorter period of time, what will happen? Flood will occur into that area. Okay, so this problem is occur. That's why we need to handle this. Okay, so we need to keep this question also when we are preparing a master plan. This is also happening recently. Recent flood events highlighted backwater effects from embankment and infrastructure rather than only rainfall magnitude. We are preparing structure also. What we think, if we prepare the structure, all the problem will be solved. That will not happen always. Okay, if we construct a structure, if we are changing anything in the basin, it will affect other thing. So we need to think about it, and we take in those concepts also into our river basin master plan. Drought analysis increasingly and uses previously I don't know you know about how we analyze the drought, because we will discuss in our separate session. So previously we don't include evapotranspiration in calculation of the indices. Now we need to include SPEI, evaporation of rainfall. Previously we only prepare, I think I'm right, we only use rainfall because he is working on this index, SPI index, SPEI index. So methodology is also changing with time. That's why we are revising the phenomena methodology in river basin. That's why I am telling you all these points. I have one more question with you. Are structural flood measures alone sufficient? Structural measures are what? If we construct a dam, we construct a flood wall adjacent to the river, those are the structural measures. And second is what? Non-structural measures like flood early warning system. Okay, so in recent time, in nowadays, are structural flood measures alone sufficient at basin scale? We should only include, because there is a portion also in after the analysis. What we will give, if we are preparing a river basin master plan, after the analysis we will suggest, we will give the solution. Okay, so we need to give the solution. If we are giving the structural measures or non-structural also. So it is sufficient to include only structural measures into the RBMP? No. It is also important to include the non-structural measures. That's why we have included in our structure. Can drought prone block exist within the flood prone basin? We already discussed this. In the same basin, if it is affected by flood, it can be affected by drought also. Okay. So these are the actually new points, new challenges which are arising with the time, and therefore we need to change our methodology and procedure. Our agricultural practices is also changing with the time. That's why the material we are using in our agriculture, the water quality affected by those previously is changing nowadays, because we are using different materials to enhance the quality yield of the yield and the productivity. So that's also changing. Everything is changing. Like flood phenomena is also changing. Water quality aspects are also changing. Okay. So there is a question that should RBMP focus more on source control or end of pipe treatment? That can be a possible solution in future. What we do right now, we treat the water at the source. There is an intake structure. We take the water from the source and we treat it. But what do you think? This depends on the person to person. That's why we will note down your question also here. So what in future we should include? We should only treat the water at the source, or we should treat at the end user before we are supplying water to the end user? What do you think? But what are the challenges when we will implement this phenomena? Cost will increase. So what I am telling you, all these new things, new aspects, we need to think, we need to assess. That's why we are preparing RBMP. We will assess. If we have the solution, we need to assess its economic part also. Directly we cannot implement everything. Okay. Other question we already discussed. So I think we have only one more hour. So we need to move on next slide. These are some guiding principles. So when we start river basin master preparation, these are the guiding principles which can guide how to prepare integration, sustainability. Okay, integration means we need to integrate everything in the basin, like industry also, agriculture also. Before 50 years, if you are preparing a river basin master plan, on which thing you will focus? Agriculture demand or industrial demand? Only agriculture. Okay, but nowadays you need to give importance to the industrial water demand also. Okay, so we need to integrate all the things in a basin. We need to integrate all the departments. We need to integrate livestock demand also. Okay, so ecology also, environmental aspects also. So we need to integrate all the concepts in a river basin master plan. Then sustainability, like I talk about the environmental flow. So we need to think about that aspect also. If we are using water, we are giving water to everyone, but if it is creating issue to the biodiversity of that area, that will also not be good in the future. So we need to make a plan which will be sustainable for the future also. So this is also a principle. We need to include this is a institutional framework. We need to make a framework so that all the departments can be connected through that framework, like all the state departments, center departments, CWC, IMD, so that a holistic approach we can make in a RBMP. So that approach that principle is also important. Scientific rigor, utilize modern data set, we already discussed. Why we are using this modern data set? Because we need to increase the quality of the data, quality of the result, quality of the outcomes. Okay, and to make the easy to implement it. So all these things we are using new technique. In the last day we will discuss DSS also. That is also a new technique. So we will cover those things into that presentation. Scientific rigor, adaptability. Okay, adaptive measures we also include in the river basin master plan. Solution, we will give the solution at the end of the analysis. So all the adaptive measure, adaptability, so that everyone can be used. If we make some policies, what will happen after this RBMP? Government make policy according to that. Okay, we make a good RBMP, but it is not feasible for some department, some people, yeah, some look. Okay, some NGOs. It is not feasible. It's not good for them. That then also it will be difficult to implement into the basin. So it should be adaptability should be good of that RBMP. Okay, that then our purpose will solve. Okay, we make a very good RBMP. Okay, every problem will be solved, but it's not possible to adopt by all the peoples, all the organization. Then our RBMP will fail in the future. So main aspect is what? Adaptability should be good of that RBMP. Transparency should be there. So DSS we will discuss at the time. I will tell you about this. Policy alignment already in the last presentation. The NWP, National Water Policy, CWC, okay, and IWRM, Integrated Water Resource Management. So government makes some policies. Okay. So before making the RBMP, if you will be the part of the RBMP in the future, then first take all the policies, read all the policies, then start the preparation, because we need to include those points also. We need to add something also, but we need to include all those points also. That's why this is important, policy alignment. Technical theme and rationale, we already discussed these things. Again we can discuss what is the use of the data and survey. These are the technical themes of the RBMP. Are you getting my point, what I am saying to you? Is it okay? If you have any doubt, you can ask me right now also, at the end of presentation also. Okay. New techniques are nowadays we have new techniques like LiDAR survey, okay, bathymetry. To do the bathymetry analysis also we have some new techniques. They are working on the new techniques, our team. Okay, so we need to include that aspect also. So this is a technical theme for a RBMP. Thematic analysis we will use further in other slide also. What is the thematic analysis? The data we will collect, we need to analyze it, we need to do modeling like hydrological modeling, hydraulic modeling. Okay, whatever the analysis we will do, it comes into the thematic analysis. And modeling tools for hydrological modeling, there are several new tools also. Previously, I think you heard about the rational method to calculate the discharge of the water. So nowadays, the techniques are improving. We are including hydrological model, different techniques into that model we are using, and different tools also available right now. Okay, like HEC-HMS is one tool to do the hydrological analysis. We have a complete session regarding this hydrological modeling, HEC-HMS hands-on on second or on third day. Okay, and different tools are coming. These are free tools. If you want to use, you can use also HEC-HMS, HEC-RAS, and mic. These are not free, like mic and 2Flow. Okay, these are not free tools, freely available. So there are so many tools right now. And the DSS, we will discuss this section completely because this is a very new thing into the RBMP, decision support system. Okay, then WebGIS platform to present properly all the outcomes of our analysis. Okay, we use this WebGIS platform, okay, to assess different scenario. During the DSS presentation, we will see if we want to calculate like flood for a different scenario, like we calculated. Do you know about the return periods? What it is? 2-year return period, 5-year return period, occurrence probability. It is nothing. It is just occurrence probability of a flood. 2-year means 1/2.5 is the probability of occurring a flood. So like that we have some scenario, predefined scenario. So we analyze it and we present on the GIS platform for online, like we presented it online. But different scenario come, like heavy flood come, okay, we want to analyze it also, so we can directly analyze it, okay. So scenario analysis will be there in the GIS platform, that's why it's very useful. Okay, now we are only talking about a theoretical concept. All these things, DSS, we will see. Okay, we will have a hands-on also. Now capacity building, already we talked. Right now also the capacity building is there in our RBMP. Now this is the structure of RBMP. So we can divide our RBMP in different parts. So if I would like to ask you from where, if we want to do a work, from where we can start it, we need its basic knowledge, we need to do data collection, okay, we need to do desktop studies, we need to sit, we need to analyze what studies already published. So first from there we need to start. So therefore first chapter we can give introduction and basin context, in which we can include the basin map also. What are the things included into a basin map? I think you are aware of the basin map. It include the main river, okay, tributaries, name of the tributaries. Okay, so if we are preparing a RBMP, we should know about the what is the basin, what is the characteristics of that basin. Okay, so in first chapter we include all those basic things. Okay, then second chapter, data and survey. So all the data, secondary data, metadata, we will discuss what is secondary data, what is metadata, and field visit data, and by from survey like bathymetry survey, LiDAR survey. So we need to collect the data and we need to incorporate into a section. So that can be a second part. Okay. Third part is resource assessment. For example, there are already existing structure will be there in a river basin master plan. So what are the resources, what are the structure into the basin, we need to assess that. Second is land resource assessment, like LULC pattern is changing, what are the land resources present into the basin. So that will be the third part. What is available right now, that we need to assess, then we can determine what we need to do the changes in the future. Then part 4, socioeconomic and sectoral analysis. Okay, that population, demographic analysis, how population is changing. So if population will change, the water demand is also change. Okay, and industrial, how industry is changing, how livestock population is changing. Okay, so all those things covers into the socioeconomic and sector analysis. Then planning and decision support system. When we do all the, I told you, thematic assessment. So that fourth part will be the thematic assessment. All the assessment we will do and we will present in a section. Okay, that then planning and decision support system. So if we have the outcomes from our modeling like hydrological modeling, hydraulic modeling, then what we will do, we will find the solution from there and we will present into that. According to that solution, government will plan. Okay, so that planning from those outcomes we will include in this section. Okay, then the formulation of master plan, we will make a complete report, draft report. Okay, so in which what will we include? We will include vision and strategies, basin development plan, priority of the project and investment. We will find so many solutions in the river basin master plan. What we need to do also? We need to prioritize it also. We need to divide it also, like short-term plan, medium-term plan, and long-term plan. Okay, and prioritize also what should come into the short-term plan. What are the main issues in the basin? So we need to first solve that issue. Okay, that the prioritization and that division in the 3 sections, short term, medium term and long term, that we will to include in this 6th part. Okay, then implementation and monitoring. So these, like we can prepare the RBMP in 2 to 3 years, okay, but the solution we have suggested into the RBMP, like long term plan, it can take 5 years, 10 years, 15 years also. So we need to watch that also, those implementation are there or not after some time, 5 years, 6 years. So we need to monitor it. Okay, geospatial and digital delivery. So these deliverables we will discuss. Okay, what report we submit, what are the maps we need to submit, in what format we will. Okay, so did you get a basic structure of RBMP? If you have doubt or you have any suggestion, please discuss.
River basin. First of all, we need to put good structure. After that,
No, I'm not getting.
good river basin. As far as I can understand what you are saying, first of all, we need to have a good structure.
No, actually what I was saying, we have abundance of water in us, but still we have the situation in some part. Okay, so why it is? Because of the less of infrastructure and proper management, like he said, the proper management of the water. Okay, the structure, when we are preparing a master plan, what we need to do first, then need to second step, what will be there, third step kya hogi, what will be the fourth step, fifth step, like that. These are the steps. Okay, when you make a report, so like that you can. Okay, so these next is the minimum deliverables for the river basin master plan. Baseline data set. Baseline data set is what when we the data set we will collect from different departments. Initially, whatever we will collect from the field visit department, okay, from the survey part, okay, after doing the LiDAR survey, bathymetry, soil sampling, everything. So that become a baseline for our RBMP, that we will use for the assessment and everything. So that means, are you getting what is baseline data set? Okay. Second is mandatory maps. We need to present everything through the maps, infographics. Okay. So what are the, like basin map? We need to show river into a map, its tributary, basin boundaries. Okay. So like that, there are several maps which we will need to include into the RBMP, so that whoever will be use that RBMP, by using that map, he can take decision. Okay, that's why we need to add several maps into the RBMP. So what are the maps? In next slide we will discuss. There baseline data set, what data set we need to collect from the different department from the basin, and what are the maps we will use we will need to add in the report. That also we will discuss in next slide. And third is master plan output. Master plan outputs will come. What do you think? Outputs, if we do something, then we will get output. Like thematic analysis, we do the analysis and we will get the output. So in the RBMP also, after the assessment of everything like demand, hydrological modeling, hydraulic modeling, environmental, okay, everything, after that we will get some outputs. So what are the outputs? Are minimum output requirement. Well, what it means, it should be there into the, if you are doing a, if you are performing a RBMP study. So this output should be into the RBMP. You cannot miss anyone. Okay, though it means that is minimum requirement. Okay, if now the modeling outputs. So one is master plan output. It can come from the data analysis also, from the from discussing what is the difference between last two, master plan outputs and modeling output. I am explaining that. Okay, we have so many output. From the stakeholder consultation we will get some output, from the field visit we will get some output. Okay, from the data analysis, like in Excel we are performing an analysis in the data, we will get some output. Okay, so that means overall output is master plan output. And modeling output is what? Hydrological modeling, hydraulic modeling. From there whatever we will get, it is modeling output. So what are these minimum requirements I have added into next slide. So please read, we will discuss one by one, and if you feel ki we missed anything here, so you can suggest that also. Is it visible to you? I will read also. First is baseline data set. We need first rainfall, okay, temperature and humidity, wind, evapotranspiration data set. Why we need this data set? To determine the water availability, water balance, agriculture water requirement. Okay, these data set we require. Okay, if we are performing hydrological modeling, from what is hydrological modeling? It is rainfall to runoff, rainfall runoff modeling. So into that modeling, these parameters we will need. Then river discharge, stage, cross section we require. Why we need this? When we prepare this hydrological and hydraulic model, we need to calibrate it, okay, so that we can get a good output, good result. Okay, so for the calibration and validation of our model, we need this river discharge data, stage, cross section. Can I ask from where we can get this river discharge data? CWC. Okay, I am laughing. Actually, forget it. Okay, CWC is right, and from the Irrigation Water Resource Department, WRD. But we face a issue here in the Northeast Basin, that the gauging discharge sites or station, they implemented only before 2 years or 3 years, like for the validation calibration we required 30-year data like that, and CWC station are very less. They did not implement every tributary or so many places, very few, like in Mizoram 5, I think 5 gauging sites are there. The basin size, we are working on 2 basins in the Mizoram, one is Mangpuili and the second one is Karnafuli. So Mangpuili area is I think 7,000 square kilometer, and Karnafuli is I think 5 to 6,000 square kilometer, but there including both basins only 5 gauging sites are there, and water is also coming from Myanmar also, Burma also, okay, and we don't know how much water is coming from there. So this issue is everywhere in the India, but predominantly we saw in the Northeast. So that can be a limitation also. So we need to look on those limitations when we are preparing RBMP, how we will cover up those limitations also. That is also a question when you start the RBMP. Okay, so many challenges will come. So how we can deal? Completely we cannot deal, but we can minimize its impact on the quality of the outcome. Okay, it will affect the quality of the outcome, it's definitely sure, but we have to minimize it. Okay, now groundwater levels and aquifer characteristics. Groundwater level, okay, it is declining everywhere in India, okay, but I think in our studies some places it is increasing. That's good sign. I think in your basin also, in some like Arunachal Pradesh basin, Dikrong basin, the groundwater is increasing. So I have one question also for you. When we will discuss, when we will have a next session, I will take session I think on 4th or 5th day. Then I will ask, there is so much surface water also, abundance of surface water, okay, and also groundwater is also present in our area, okay, Assam or Northeast basin, but why we are not using all the potential of the groundwater. Okay, so this is the we will discuss this important aspect. It is now land use and land cover. So LULC we can prepare from the imagery. We will discuss this in other session also, that we can download imagery from like Bhunidhi, Bhuvan, NRSC image. They are available now at I think 5-meter resolution also at free cost, at no cost. Okay, 1 meter also some images are available maybe. So from there also we can prepare LULC. Online sources are there from we can download the LULC, but most of the online sources where direct LULC is available, I think it is 30-meter resolution. It is not available at 5, maybe nowadays 10-meter. Yeah, okay. Nowadays it is available at 10 meters. So you can directly download the LULC maps online, from online. Okay. And if you want to prepare, so you can prepare from the satellite images also. Okay, in ArcGIS, through Python. Then soil geology, geomorphological data set we need. Wetland, forest cover, ecological assets, because this complete all the aspects of the basin. So we need to cover all things like forest, economic indicators into, because what is socioeconomic? In the socioeconomic we determine the impact policy or water. What is the impact of water? What is the impact of flood? What is the impact of the drought? So those impacts, then only we can take decisions. Therefore, socioeconomic indicators also need to include in our RBMP. Climate projection we will discuss in our presentation, that basically 4 types of climate projection scenarios are there. We will discuss like base scenario is what if it is what the like NASA and other organization in the world, no? There is a computer model, they predict the future rainfall. So mainly they take the indicator, there are so many indicators to predict the future rainfall, but main indicator is what? Our anthropogenic activities, or you can say greenhouse gas emission. Okay, if we produce same greenhouse like we are producing right now, so that scenario name is I think 245, RCP 245, SSP 245. If we produce more greenhouse gases, that means the worst scenario is 585. Then what will happen? So they predict rainfall, temperature, so many parameters according to that. Okay, if we implement some policies and we reduce the production of the greenhouse gases, so there is a base scenario, there is ideal, I think, which is not possible. So there are 4 scenarios. So we need to include those scenarios also. So there is we have one presentation also on this climate change. So we will discuss now infrastructure inventory. What are the structures into the basin, dam structures and wetland, all the what are the structures present existing in the basin. We need to make an inventory of it, and also what are the planned project, no? That also we need to make an inventory. So according to that we can give the solution. So these 2 things we need to include in our, that data we can collect from, I think water resource department has this kind of data, existing structures and projected planned structures. Okay, then include field level spring inventory. I think soil water conservation has this data, spring inventory. So if it is available, if it is not available, it's not possible to include into the RBMP, because this assessment is very huge. So we cannot do this assessment in the RBMP. But if the data is already available with the department, then we can include this data, say spring. Now what are the maps we need to include in our basin and sub-basin boundary? This is the first important thing. If anyone will open the report, what he will see into the RBMP, first he will see the basin boundaries and the rivers, okay, into the report. So these must, which we need to include: river stream network, drainage hierarchy, DEM, digital elevation model. I think everyone know about this. What is DEM? This is required for the hydraulic modeling also. Okay. So and flood hazard maps. I have also one question regarding this. Do you know about hazard, vulnerability, and exposure? What is the difference between that? What is exposure? From exposure from any calamity like flood. If we are talking about flood, so what is exposure? The peoples or the infrastructure will come into the flood, na? That is exposure. Okay. And hazard is what? Flood extent. Like flood extent is what? Hazard. Okay. How much area is affected by the flood is hazard. Okay. Flood, if we prepare a flood, did you see a flood extent map? I think all are aware from the flood extent map. So what are the flood boundaries, na? What are the flood extent? It is hazard. But the area which are affected, okay, like this, urban areas, okay, which are affected from it, those are that means exposure. They are exposed towards the flood. But what is vulnerability? Who are affecting most, okay, is the vulnerability. So I have one question, that we should only include the hazard map into RBMP. Why? For example, if I will tell you, if there is a flood in Mumbai, will Dhirubhai Ambani will affect by it? No. Who will be most affected by it? Normal people. Okay. So who are getting affected by the flood most, we need to include, because we need to implement our policy there. Those area flood is occurring, but people know how to deal. Okay. Then those will not come into the vulnerability areas. So we need to overlap all these three aspects, prepare a map, okay, from the end we need to prioritize it accordingly, and we can give suggestion accordingly where we need implement measures at first priority, okay, like that. Now erosion, land use, wetland, aquifer, these map also, geomorphological map, lithological map, all these we need to include in our RBMP. Water quality hotspot map, administrative layer, village boundary, block boundary, and recharge zones, spring sheds, we need to include these maps into the RBMP. Okay, is it clear to everyone? Do you have any suggestion? Should we need any other maps also? If you think, please you are free to give suggestions. This is socio-economic data set, like the people who don't have the protection, like they don't have money. Actually, it was missing mostly in the RBMP. Nowadays, they are taking more. They are giving more importance to this aspect. In previously, it was not only they at the extent map, hazard map. Now this is very important aspect nowadays. We need to divide the areas which are at high risk, like that. Modeling also, we can give like according to the depth of the flood. We can give this is most hazardous place, but how it is affecting people, that also we need to include. That is a separate data set. So in GIS, what we can do, we can from the modeling, what we can determine, the extent map we can determine, hazard map we can determine, like that. And then exposure map, from the demographic data set we have the shape files of those, from there we can determine. And from the socio-economic data set we can determine which areas are more vulnerable, and we can overlap all those things into the GIS platform, and we can determine. And if actually future, na, it depends on the policy also. We will talk about the scenarios also, how we will project future. Okay, so we can determine the future population, but to determine where that population will settle, na, that is mostly depend on the policy. Policy or the what government will decide which area they will, like in one area suddenly a airport will come into that area, so what will happen there, it will urbanization will increase there, so it depends on the like it depends on the policy also of the government, so we cannot predict that, we cannot project that. It's a very important limitation. Everyone is who are doing study on this, na, they are facing this limitation for the projection. They can project the population more or less accurately, like 80%, 70% accurately, they can measure the population. But how we will project that area, na, ki here the population will settle, and also here the poor people will settle, here the rich people will, how we will decide, how we will project. So future vulnerability map you cannot determine. It's very difficult. Okay, is it clear?
Not hazard map, in the plain area, mostly, how will you make a map for the
That I will also discuss. That is a different thing. Both are the different thing. Like we can determine that this is a plain area. Water will collect here and will it will flush out after 10 to 15 days. But what happened at the hilly area? It will not collect there, but the flash flood will come. So landslide can also happen. So
we are doing land assessment also. Landslide assessment also we are doing. That will be included in the report. And as per the extreme floods, we will be using the indices. We will be actually calculating the extreme number of extreme events, how the number of extreme events will increase. The extreme rainfall events will increase. More chances of cloudburst events on the hilly region will be that. So that number is what we are going to assess.
25 minutes है. बड़ा कर दो. 15 है ना. Okay, sir, you got it. Actually, we are including all the aspects, landslide, also flash flood aspects also. Then we will assess those area. Then modeling outputs. Basin water balance, flow duration curve, calibration rainfall runoff model, 1T, D2D, inundation output, sediment transport modeling outputs, groundwater balance and HI estimation, sector-wise water demand projection, scenario analysis. All we will include. Already we have discussed these things. So this we need to include at least in our RBMP. Other outcomes also there. I have not included in this table, but these are the main outcomes should be into the RBMP. And then master plan outputs. What are the master, like we have discussed, no? There are 4 things: modeling outputs and the master plan outputs. So basin vision, planning, principle, strategic goal. This we need to include in master plan. Basin development pathways, the structural measures, non-structural already discussed. Sectors nowadays we need this structural measure in every drought also. We meant a non-structural measure also. The structure. Sector specific strategies, priority project with justification. Well, we need to give priorities also. We already discussed investment plan. What will the costing? What will the phase? Long-term plan, short-term, medium-term. We need to include institutional strengthening. Monitoring and evaluation framework, web GIS ready special data set and metadata, basin atlas, maps, figure, thematic layers, special maps will visualize spring density. These things we need to include into the reports, RBMP report. Do you have any doubt? We can move to the other slide. That in inception phase, I will discuss inception phase. There I will tell you about the secondary data set, metadata set and modeling. All three things I will discuss with you. So this is the scale of planning for the river basin master plan. Actually, we need to start the basin planning from the basin scale. What is basin scale? Well, we are planning about big structures. We are planning for the whole basin. Okay, that is basin scale. What is medium sub basin scale? If we plan for the tributaries also, that means it is sub basin scale. Then macro watershed, if we solve the specific problem for area specific problem, that is macro watershed scale. But generally in the RBMP we can go only up to the sub basin scale. Okay, it's very difficult to reach up to the micro watershed scale. If we identify a very important issue which need to be solved as soon as possible, that we can include in the RBMP. But we will plan RBMP for a whole basin and at the sub basin scale only. Okay, at the micro watershed scale we cannot, it's not possible to include, but in a long term plan we can include those analysis. In long term plan we can include, but we need to identify those issues initially also, which need to be addressed. Okay, so those area specific or small issues we can include in the RBMP, otherwise we can reach up to only this sub basin scale. Okay, if you have any doubt on this slide, please ask. Now after so many discussion and from the suggestion of like GM sir of Brahmaputra board, chairman sir, we decided the master plan into these phases. Okay, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 and phase 5. We divide it into the 5 phases. Okay, first is what? Inception phase. So into this phase what we will do, first after starting the project we do the desktop analysis. Okay, desktop analysis what? We will download old studies, we will collect studies if possible from other department. Okay, we read the research paper specific to that area. Okay, so what are the issues what we are trying into this inception phase na? We want to formulate the master plan. We want to make the objective of the master plan, what we need to include, which studies are most important. Okay, so for that formulation we need to identify the issues in the basin. Okay, so basin specific issue we need to identify. So to identify those issues na, there are several steps from where we can identify the issue. So first step is what? Desktop analysis. Okay, download, read the old research, identify the issues from there. Okay, and from the government reports if available for that area. So we will do a desktop review. Second thing what we can do, we need to do the field visit. From the field visit also we can identify the issues. Okay, and third thing what? From the stakeholder. After discussion, because if livestock, if we go to the livestock department, they know what are the problem into that area related to that department. So we need to meet each and every department. What I feel, first all departments should sit together. Okay, we need to identify issues in a meeting so that a comprehensive planning we can do. Then we need to go each and every department. Okay, and meet personally to them, and regional offices also, not a main state office, regional offices also. So what we are trying here, we are trying to identify all the issues, okay, related to our content. We are already we have discussed in our first slide themes. Okay, related to those themes we need to identify the issues. Okay, so in inception phase we will try to find out the issues and formulate and make the objective of the master plan. Okay, then phase 2, survey and data collection. So I talk about secondary data set and metadata. So what is this? The data set we will collect from the department which is already available. Primary data is what? The survey data what we are doing. We are performing LiDAR survey. We means who is preparing the river basin master plan. Okay. So LiDAR data and benchmark, sorry, bathymetry survey is what? Primary data set. And what is secondary data set? The data set available with the livestock department, animal husbandry department, okay, water source department, okay, pollution control board department, like that other departments are there. We have identified more than 20 to 25 departments in a state. So, okay, CWC, discharge data, IMD, okay, like there are so many departments in the basin, okay, economics and economics department. So we will collect the data set required for our master plan. We will collect from them because they have those data set already with them. So we will use those data set in the analysis. So that it means it is secondary data set. Okay. So we will perform all these things in the inception phase. Survey and data collection. So in this second phase, we will collect the primary data and secondary data. Third phase, thematic assessment and scenario development. I already discussed what is the thematic assessment. So whatever data we have collected, whatever issues we have identified, according to that we will make a methodology, and according to that we will do the analysis like hydrological modeling, hydraulic modeling, whatever we have decided in the inception phase, we will perform the analysis in the thematic third phase. Okay. Then we will determine the solution. After the analysis, we will know no, this is the flood extent. Okay, this is our vulnerability map. This is our drought analysis. According to that, we can give the suggestion and the solution, both structural measures also and non-structural also. So in the fourth phase, we will do that, and the phase 5, RBMP draft. Then we will make a report. Okay, we will make a report. Then it will go for the approval of the government of India and like Jal Shakti, okay, Ministry of Jal Shakti. After approval, this will publish. This will given by the governance body to the all the stakeholders to implement. We will make an implementation plan, short term, medium term, and long term. According to that, all the stakeholders and agencies will work on it. And operation and maintenance, this will also we will discuss in the capacity building. All will comes into this operation and maintenance. If we are making a DSS, decision support system, GIS, we made some models. So into that phase, we will analyze it. It is performing properly or not. So that is maintenance phase. Okay. Then RBMP revision cycle. So we have given this 10 years timeline. If like one person told that CWC is updating its guidelines. So if they will say we need to revise into 5 years, then we need to include that 5-year revision. But from our last discussion, all those things, we found that 10 year is important. We need to revise this RBMP in at least 10 years. So these are the different timeline for the different activity. If you have any suggestion regarding that also, this T is what from where the project will start, RBMP will start, and inception phase will take 6 months, data collection and baseline assessment will take 15 months, scenario assessment will take 24 months from the starting. Okay, this data collection and scenario assessment will go parallelly. The data we will collect, we will start its analysis. We can start. So GIS and web portal T plus 30 month from starting. Okay, approval process more 6 months, more month. Then O&M for maintenance period, it takes at least 2 years. That our whatever our analysis we perform, whatever the system we have prepared like DSS, GIS, web portal, those things are working properly or not. It requires at least 2 years to check. So that is maintenance period. So these already we have discussed. Desktop review. We have prepared a stakeholder engagement plan. So we will not only discuss with the stakeholder into the inception phase when we are trying to identify the issue. We will discuss with the stakeholders at every stage. Like we will provide the inception report to all the stakeholders. We will take the suggestion. Okay. During the metadata collection, secondary data collection, we will meet the stakeholders. We will take the data. After doing the thematic analysis, when we are providing solution, we will show our outcomes to the all the stakeholder, relevant stakeholder. Okay. Then we will take their suggestion also onto the solution. So all the phases have different stakeholder engagement plan. So I have included into the figure all the stakeholder engagement where we need to perform the stakeholder engagement, like first inception phase, then data collection, third scenario assessment, then solution, preparing the strategy, and we are giving the okay, like in approval phase. So all these phases have different stakeholder engagement, and it is a very important process in the RBMP. Now, this is the overlap matrix. You can say you have identified the issue, but when you will, every basin have all the issues, but all are not important, which need to be solved at first place. Okay, so how you will identify which issues are identified, which issues are important? So we can prepare a matrix. Okay, where we can find like that. We have made a matrix. For example, riverbank erosion. We got the issue from the desktop review also, stakeholder engagement also, field visit also. If from all these sources we identify the same issue, like in desktop review find that there is a riverbank erosion, in stakeholder consultation we found that there is a riverbank erosion, in NGO institution input from them we also found that it is there, and during the field visit also we found that there is a sediment issue, erosion issue. So that means this is a very important risk. Okay, very important issue, so we can rank it first. Okay, that is highly overlap. Sometimes it is possible that if it is overlap for all the sources, then also it is not possible. It can be possible that it is not important that much, or sometimes only one source found that issue. Okay, still that can be important. So we need to look those things also. But in most of the time, these which overlap from all the agencies or all the methods, they will be those issues are important. But sometimes, like I told you earlier, like for examples, in some areas in Assam which are flood prone area, they learn how to deal with the flood, but they don't know how to deal with the drought. But from the desktop view, what we will found, because most of the studies were performed only for the flood. Okay, so that is, there is a possibility that any issue is very important, but it is overlapped by only, it is given by only one. Okay, so that's also need to look. Now these are the departments. This is a structure. How can we work? Like जो main body can consult with all the stakeholders. They can assign a nodal officer like WRD. They can assign a person, nodal officer, who consult with other stakeholders, and one person is assigned from each department so that we can directly contact to them during the process of preparation of river basin master plan. Okay, otherwise if we will not make this mechanism, what will happen? We discuss with a person, now we are discussing with the other person, then we cannot make a single approach. Okay, if we went first time, we went to a person, we asked for a data. If we second time we will go to the other person, then we will not get the data. So we need to assign a nodal officer at each department, and also who will coordinate with all these nodal officer of the department. We need to assign a main nodal officer. Like that that mechanism can work for all the processes. Then we will formulate, we will make the objective of the RBMP. Accordingly, we will prepare a methodology. Okay, then these are the data collection and baseline assessment. it can take 9 months. Okay, if you have any suggestion ki it can take more like 15 months, or it can be done into like it will take I think 15 months total. Okay, total 15 months. So you can give the suggestion also, like material lab testing we need to do in this phase, aerial survey, river cross section survey, satellite procurement of satellite imagery, secondary data from the different stakeholders. Data collection and baseline assessment have these activities. Now the scenario assessment, which is I think phase 3, I have shown you. So this is our thematic assessment or scenario assessment. We will perform the water resource assessment, we will project population also, future trend also, climate change impact also. Then we perform the morphological analysis, hazard and vulnerability assessment we have discussed, economic assessment. So all these come, all the assessment will comes into this scenario assessment, and minimum I think 2 years it will take from starting. Okay, after 2 years we can complete this thematic analysis, then we can give the solution and we can start the preparation of the draft master plan. So I told you earlier also ki we have so many scenarios which we need to assess, like baseline scenario reflecting current condition and existing water infrastructure. If we talk about the current scenario, now what is happening right now, if we only assess those, for example, we have a last 30-year data set, okay, of the rainfall, and we will do the hydraulic modeling right now. We will include all the parameters which are existing, like LULC, runoff coefficient. Then it is our current, it means we are performing baseline scenario, but we need to assess the future scenario also, like projecting trends with major policy or technological intervention, high development scenario, if there is so much urbanization will be there in the future, so we need to include it also. We can determine it by the projecting the LULC for the future, by taking last to 40-year LULC data set, we can project for the future also. Then climate change scenario, I told you also they projected precipitation, temperature and other parameters, SSP 245, SSP 85. So from those future projected rainfall, temperature, we can use those data set in our model, and we can assess future flood also, drought possibility also. So all those things we can do for the future also. So this is a climate change scenario. Integrated management scenario incorporating sustainable practice. If we apply sustainable practices, so including, if we include those things also, we can analyze our model on the basis of this scenario also. But most important scenario is baseline scenario and climate change scenario and high development scenario, which we need to include in our master plan. It is very essential, these three scenarios: baseline, high development and climate change scenario. Then what we will do, I am talking about this thematic analysis: water balance analysis, flood and drought vulnerability, sediment erosion risk, infrastructure resilience, socio-economic impacts. Then DSS we will discuss separately. This is sectoral water use. LULC, did you prepare any LULC map earlier? Did you work on it? So this can be the process. We will take the satellite data, we will do the pre-processing. Okay, so the issues into the data, we will remove those things. That means that is pre-processing, geometric error, atmospheric correction, those error we will remove, that is pre-processing. We can determine NDVI, vegetative index, built up index. Then we will training sample, like we will take 200 sample of the forest manually. Then we can take 400 sample of the built up, like that. This is the methodology of the LULC. So this will cover into the GIS part. Platform, but if you
can, we are using it. Anyway, we are using it, but it's a platform which we can we are doing. But there are several others, because we work on very high level of imagery, and at there the imagery which is available is only the global data set. If we want to do our, we have to put it on our raster. Sometimes get imagery from other sources.
Like if you are only using the imaging software and high resolution image, and also quality by AI technique. Now also there, random forest and those things. So you can improve it accuracy also through that. So that is the best process. But if your objective is you are working on something else, only you want LUC data set. So Google Earth Engine or other source also you can use. So, so it depends on your objective. So I have shown here one LULC map. So these are the classes of the LULC: agriculture, built up, forest, tree outside forest, other, sandy, lake, river, transportation. So we need to perform this change detection also. I have shown somewhere. It's not there. Well, in the starting now we need to prepare LULC for 2010 for example, for 2000, then 2025. From there we can determine the change detection, how it is changing, how forest is changing. So many issues also we can determine from here, like if forest is decreasing, that is the issue. Okay, so from this analysis also we can determine, and we need to do this in the starting of our RBMP. So how built up is increasing, so this we can determine from the LULC also, which is very important in the RBMP. So dependence on natural resources and livelihood pattern, infrastructure and policy, addressing socio-economic vulnerability, seasonal vulnerability, dependence on natural resources. If possible, we have to perform this analysis also, how livelihood is working into that area. For example, people are depends on the agriculture, so that livelihood activity is also in our master plan, so that according to that we can give the solution. Like if there is a coal mining is there, so we need to determine these aspects also. High livelihood is happening into that river basin, so that also need to be assessed into the RBMP. Then urbanization, how happening, infrastructure growth, pressure on resources, how it is, like we will determine future water demand, industrial demand, domestic demand. So we can determine how it is stressing on the water of the basin. So this we need to do. Agriculture practices, like for example, previously people are using zoom irrigation for the rice cultivation. Now I think what is name technique? There is a new technique now for the rice cultivation. So they are changing towards it. So like that, what the agriculture practices into that area people are performing, that we need to also identify and use into the river basin master plan. Water allocation planning, if optimization we need to perform, if which sector we can, how much water we should give. For water, for example, how we will determine according to the priorities. For example, first priority is what? Domestic water need. First we need to fulfill the domestic water, like that agriculture. In some area, industrial demand also can be important at the second point. So we need to decide the priorities. Then we need to allocate the water. So that water allocation planning process also need to incorporate into the RBMP. Technically, Basin is there. We will use that. IS code is not there, but it depends in that area, which sector is most important, like agricultural. So, but I don't think so. There is. I don't know if anyone know. Please.
So after finalization of the process design, we allocate the cost. Suppose we get 100 crore for unit one. After allocation, each way one. So there is one 5 crore.
We haven't
PWC has
The guidelines is there, but I don't think the IS code is there.
As for process related,
But we can see to it.
It is a very good suggestion. We will.
syllabus as per I have done it.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, we will try. If you have, please share with us. Okay, we will take your contact.
Yeah, for nodding, yeah, for second,
Okay.
Houston and power.
I think other aspects we will cover into other sessions also, so we can finish here. This is a LULC change map for 2018 and 2024. Here you can say how the LULC classes are changing. Forest is decreasing. For Lukha Basin it is. So like that you have to incorporate into the report. So all we will discuss, these points we will discuss again in respective sessions. So thank you so much for for your patience. Now there is a tea session. Tea session is not the tea time. Sorry, I was very involved, highly involved into the session.